Norm Stockton here on the set of the Grooves and Sushi production. Thanks for joining me. And I wanted to just take a second. I get a lot of inquiries about the gear that I use, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity to do a bit of a rundown and let you see some of the specific gear that I'm using in this production for this project. So I won't be getting into too much detail about each individual piece of gear. Certainly with most of the basses that I play, my amplification, some of my pedals. I've already done YouTube clips that have been widely circulated, and you're welcome to go check those out for some of the specifics. But I will be supplementing those with some of the stuff that's more recent and the latest developments, as it were. But I do want to say that everything that I'm going to talk about in this clip is stuff that I dig. And even, I'm going to be mentioning some things that I don't have any sort of an endorsement relationship with the manufacturer at all. But as with all the stuff that I use it because it's great and it helps me do what I do. So anyway, without further ado, in terms of basses, many of you who are familiar with my music know that I'm a longtime hardcore MTD player and endorser. And Michael Tobias designed basses, and I have a long-term relationship, and I love their stuff. And I'm honored and privileged to be playing the Norm Stockton Artist Edition fretted 5-string MTD on most of the project. There is a separate video clip for this bass, but suffice it to say that this project spans a really broad range of sounds and tones and styles, and this bass delivers in a huge way, and it plays like a dream. Like I said, there is a separate video clip for that, but I do want to correct something that was actually erroneous information, unfortunately, in that clip, which Michael Tobias and I had been saying that the mid-frequency, the push-pull, was 400 and 800, and in fact, it's 250 and 450, which explains a lot, actually, and it's one of the many things that give this bass its unique voicing. Proprietary Bartolini electronics, and I'm going to do a separate clip of the Bartolini stuff. So, but yeah, great sounding. And this bass is strung with Dunlop super bright stainless steel round wound strings from 45 to 130 with a taper core B. I've only recently started playing Dunlop strings, and so I haven't quite decided if I like the 125 or the 130 they're both taper core B strings. So there are actually some songs in this project where I used one and some that I used the other, but the Dunlops are great. This is a Gruv Gear solo strap, Gruv Gear fret wrap. I use the Gruv Gear club bag and the AMG 500 cart, which is the newer version of the V-Cart Solo. There's clips on all that stuff. I love Gruv Gear. They're a great company and make really great products. And this is a Peterson Strobo Clip HD tuner. I've used Peterson stuff for a long time, used to use the pedal. But anyway, in addition, this is the one that started it all. This is my first MTD. I got it in 1997. This is a 535 number 252. And it's fantastic. I love it. And I use this on a song called Only When I Exist on the Grooves and Sushi CD. And then this is an MTD 735. Both this and my 535 I used extensively on Pondering the Sushi and Tea and the Typhoon. I love using this bass for recording chordal stuff, melodies, solos. Anytime you're listening to any of my stuff and you're wondering, oh, is that a bass or a guitar? It's probably this. I use this on a piece called Field of Broken Glass on the new project. But it's the shrimp bass, ebi, for those of you who are sushi people. And this is actually a newer acquisition. This is a Kala U-Bass. It's the mahogany version with the LR bags system. And it does kind of an uprightish sort of a thing, but it's way easier on your hands, and it fits in the overhead bin, so I love them. But I use this on a song called Amber on the Grooves and Sushi project. In terms of amplification, many of you probably already know that I'm a longtime endorser for Gallien-Krueger. I love GK's stuff, and several years back they had me do demos of pretty much all the gear they make, and so if you go to GK's YouTube channel, you can check it out, and it's great. Their stuff's awesome. This is my 1001 RB head with the Neo 112 cabinet. Sounds fabulous. In terms of my direct input, I'm going through an A-Designs Ready Tube DI, and I love how these sound. On any of my projects, the direct signal is always either going through the Ready Tube DI or just directly into the instrument input of my API A to D. I love how both of them sound. They sound phenomenal. The Ready Tube DI is actually also powered by an Essential Sound Products power cable. I never thought that a power cable would make much of a difference, but it's actually a noticeable difference. So my Ready Tube DI and my Essential Sound Products power cable always travel together, so when I go do sessions, I take both of them with me. For in-ear monitors, I'm using the 64 Audio A12s, and these sound phenomenal, and I'm actually gonna do a separate clip on these too, but these help me to do what I do. I love them. In terms of cables, I'm going to do a separate clip for Sinasoid, but suffice it to say that Sinasoid is an awesome company, and I use their Sinasoid Slate line of cables with the, actually I probably have one here. Yeah, here we go. It's the Slate line of cables with a Neutrik silent plug, so when you disconnect from the system, it doesn't make this thunderous, I actually have a really traumatic experience where that happened once in a really large venue at a very quiet moment. So I'm really into these silent plugs. But yeah, the Sinasoid stuff's awesome. If this project sounds decent at all, a large part of that can be credited to Sinasoid. I'm not only using their instrument cables exclusively, but my entire studio is wired with Sinasoid mic cables and headphone extensions, and it's awesome stuff. So again, separate clip for that. In terms of effects, most of you that heard my Pondering the Sushi CD probably remember that I used effects fairly liberally on that project. And I kind of got away from them shortly after that, and I don't think I used a single effect on my Tea and the Typhoon CD, but I'm back at it with a vengeance. My use of effects has evolved a bit, and it's less conventional now, and not that there's anything wrong with the conventional bass effects, but I'm sort of into the slightly more textural stuff, slightly kind of weirder stuff. I had a couple of people that have been super helpful in sort of getting me up to speed quickly. Juan Alderete, Justin Hepner, and Rod Castro. They've sort of tutored me in this process. And what's kind of funny is that, recently I think Justin was asking me about, why I hadn't Velcroed any of my pedals down to the board. And I was saying, well, it's because I haven't finalized my decisions yet. And he started cracking up. He's like, dude, it's never finalized, man. It's always evolving and being refined. And so that has definitely been the case with this project. My pedal board has been sort of evolving, and it's like, this works better for this works better for this, but I'm really digging where it is right now. I'll do some separate clips later on that'll show how I used each individual pedal in the tunes, but for right now, let me just kind of walk you down the line of what my present pedal board situation is. I love Matthews Effects pedals, and this is the Matthews Effects Conductor, which is a tremolo pedal, really quite amazing. This is a Moleko Charlie Foxtrot, which is absolutely from Mars, but also wonderful. This is an Earthquaker Devices Organizer, which does kind of a B3 thing. I use it for kind of a high octave, but it's got this kind of a interesting musical character. I use it a lot for textural type stuff. This is a Matthews Effects Chemist, which I use for vibrato and some modulation effects. This is really cool. This is a Red Witch Zeus, which is a combination fuzz and octaver, very mean sounding pedal. This is the Amp Tweaker Tight Drive Junior, which I use for overdrive. This is really vicious. This is the Aguilar Filter Twin. And many of you know that I have a long time relationship with Aguilar. I used to use their TLC compressor pedal and their tone hammer on the road with Lincoln Brewster, and it's great stuff. And there's many demo clips actually of the Aguilar pedals, so definitely go check those out. This is the Filter Twin, and it's an envelope filter, but I'm not actually using it in sort of the funk traditional way. I'm using this a lot with some textural stuff and some swells, and it really does this really eerie, kind of cool, mysterious kind of a sound. But pedalboard real estate is definitely sort of limited, so I'm gonna probably be rotating different Aguilar stuff in and out anyway. But this is a Matthews Effects Cosmonaut, which is an amazing reverb, kind of shimmery goodness sort of a pedal. I love this. And this is a Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2 Plus.
I should also mention that this project benefited hugely from great sounding radial JDI and J48 direct boxes, as well as their X-Amp reamper. Additionally, it didn't exist yet when Grooves and Sushi production began, but I'm a big fan of the BackBeat. Particularly if you use in-ear monitors, you need one. Google them, check it out, and you can thank me later.
So that's about it in terms of the gear that I'm using for this production. But I hope you'll drop by groovesandsushi.com to hear it in actual application. For me, it's really not about the gadgetry, it's about the music, and all of this equipment helps me to express what I'm wanting to express. So please check that out. Otherwise, please drop by normstockton.com for all things bass related, as well as artofgroove.com, my instructional website for hours and hours of material that'll help you in your bass playing. So anyway, God bless you, and I hope to see you on the road.